Welcome back to the Fox 7 Sports Office. Julian Martinez, joined by Dennis De La Pena, who's preparing for a road trip this week to Hotlanta.
Hotlanta, baby, we're coming.
Rematch on tap, Georgia Bulldogs. It's technically a home game, but Sark even admitted today it's a road game for the Horns as they go into not so friendly territory. This is a big one, right? This is one that you also not only need for seeding purposes, but I also say for the mentality, for the minutia of the team, you need to get this win because you just need to prove it to yourself, right? Beat the one team that beat you this year.
Yeah, there's the revenge factor. There is oh, by the way, they're playing for an SEC title. So it's like
first year, by the way, after all that talk about can they win in the SEC, here we are.
So there's something, and you can tell that sits with Sark and his guys. They've been sitting on this. He mentioned it in the post-game presser after the A&M win. I was like, these guys hear it, they're on their phone. They know that their toughness, and if they were questioned so much if can they compete in this conference, and they're doing it. But yeah, so there's an SEC title, and then you earn a bye week if you win this game, which, boy, every team at this point, especially if your QB1's kind of dealing with an ankle, Kelvin Banks trying to come back, and, so they could use the time off. But at the end of the day, it's the best football conference in the nation, and you're trying to be the king of it. That's plenty of motivation.
I think that's proving out, too. It's like we look around what's going on with the other conferences. No disrespect to SMU and the ACC and everything. But the SEC, I still think, is on top. I still think that I would be more scared of a matchup against a team like Tennessee or Ole Miss or Alabama, if any of these teams get in, than anyone else that they could potentially face in the playoffs. Right. But, yeah, it's important here from the seeding perspective, as I mentioned, too, because you win this game, you get that bye week, which we talked about in the first block. Quinn's dealing with this ankle. I'd like to give him as much rest as possible. So I think it's highly important there. Other guys we need to get healthy. Kelvin Banks, he went down in that A&M game. We didn't see him that entire second half, which we talked about. What was the reason for some of those offensive struggles? I don't know. Maybe not having your left tackle out there might have a little bit to do.
Well, though,
He did, but we know where Kelvin Banks is going to be, and it's going to be on Sundays next year. So you want that guy out there, especially because what went wrong in the Georgia game the first time around? You couldn't, and you couldn't stop Georgia's defensive line. So I don't want any banged up line going into this game. That's the concern, really, to me.
I think anybody that watched that game, and Sark mentions it all the time, like as a fan, you just wanted to see UT's, if not their best shot, just their usual shot. But they didn't even have that. A lot of that maybe Georgia had something to do with it because they were all over the place and forcing those turnovers. But 3 lost fumbles and a pick. They were deep. I mean, given Georgia short fields, it feels like we didn't see the fight that we wanted, the matchup. We want to see this thing play out and strength on strength. And that got so out of control early, and it just created this weird game script. So, no, I'm looking forward to a little better ball security. Sark alluded to it, and I think that's a key. This run game has really – Texas, I'm trying to remember what they ran against. They had like 30 rushing yards or something. They didn't do much on the ground. And so, you go to the pass, and you can have kind of an extension of a run game with quick outs. But at the same time, we've talked about it all the time. You want to be able to run when they know that you're running. You want to be able to run between the tackles. And the last month, Texas has really done well in that. I mean, Trey Wisner is just – you talk about a blossoming talent, and it's not just Wisner. It's the line, and it's the receivers block, and in the tight ends block. It's the run game. But when you go put up a $186 in College Station on 30-plus
no
carries,
fumbles, too, which I think is another big thing for this running back room as well.
So they're showing that they are evolving and improving as a running offense, and you got to have that because it was woefully lacking the last time these two teams matched up. And, I mean, if for anything else, to keep a defense honest, to keep Kirby from loading up and, I think another key for them is also going to be attacking the Georgia secondary at the second and third level because when I go back and watch that game in particular, it just seemed like
the short area passing game was it's a big part of what Texas does, obviously,
film
right?
work, by the way. Nice
right?
work.
You don't got to pull up that all 22. But yeah, obviously we know the short area passing game is a big part of Texas's game, but Georgia was just attacking it. They were sitting on it, and to the point that where I think other teams have almost mirrored that. When we look at the red zone turnovers against Texas A&M, it was attacking the short area build. Like the defender for A&M on the pick 6 was just waiting there, ready. So underneath. So I think it's up to Sark to be able to, you mentioned the running game. Establishing the running game is huge, but gameplay action to be able to set up something 10 to 15 yards deeper. Sure. And even if you go back to the biggest plays offensively for Texas were in the deeper part of the field. Yeah. They were there to be had Quinn hit maybe a couple more. Maybe that game, we're talking about the game a lot differently than it actually went down. Yeah. So
all this is coming back to me. I'd actually put that game in denial a little bit, but now it's all
because they were there. There was a couple moments. I want to say it was the second drive or so in which Quinn had a guy, you know, and I want to say there was even a drop, if I'm not mistaken, too, that kind of killed the drive. So take advantage of those opportunities, because also we know Georgia's going to give you more opportunities there. Carson Beck in that game, he could have threw like 10 interceptions in that game, realistically. I think it was 3. I think you're right. But there was at least 7 others on the board there for the taking, right?
Yeah, his draft stock. I remember watching that game. I was like, wait a minute, this is the Heisman frontrunner to start the year. He's playing horribly.
Yeah, he went through a stretch there where he averaged 2 to 3 interceptions a game. Yeah. So I know even just this past week, Georgia versus Georgia Tech, we saw that he played a relatively clean game in the second half, but that's atypical at this point for Carson Beck. Yeah. If we can just see some more of those, we talked about it in the first block, the NASCAR packages and everything, get some pressure on him, Carson Beck will make mistakes. Also, slowing down that running game, because ETN had his best game of the season against Texas, too.
Right. Well, and they've had, from what I understand, I mean, they've taken a lot of hits in their running back room, and yet they decided to find it here in Austin, Texas, which was like, oh, really? Thanks. He can do the job. We saw that. I think he was in the end zone a lot, if I remember right.
I mentioned it being big for guys' mentalities, too. If you're Quinn, and I know you're coming into this banged up as well, you literally got benched in that Georgia game. Yeah. So you need to be on your A game, I think, just from a standpoint of going into the playoffs. You want to be playing your best ball. You don't want to be going in with, I can't beat this team. Yeah, I can't get over this team.
Well, and I hope he's good, ankle-wise and all that, because I'm a believer in Quinn Ewers on a big stage. I've been to enough of these games, whether it was in Tuscaloosa, whether it was in Ann Arbor, and yes, that was a big game when it happened. The Big 12 championship last year. I mean, just surgical sometimes when he is on fire, and I expect him to meet this moment too.
Yeah, I hope, obviously. I think everyone here in the 512 hopes. But if you are Sark, I should ask, do you at all have a quick hook, or do you have a hook on standby? Because you've shown that you're willing to put an arch in times of desperation, which if, let's say, Quinn goes in there and he's not looking mobile again, and you need him to be mobile, especially if this pass rush keeps firing off like it was in that first game.
And it's because Sark was talking about it. I mean, they've had this arch package. They're just waiting to figure out the best time to do it. Perfect time, by the way, with like you say, Quinn would have been hobbled fourth, and I love 4th and 2, but I
would have loved to see him throw a pass. I think it would have really caught A&M off guard.
Well, but hey, man, he plowed over a defender and took it in from 15
Glad they didn't snake that touchdown away from him. They were about to.
No, we needed that for the highlight reel. But no, it was that's. We've talked a lot about Arch, Quinn, Arch, and I'm always siding with give me the third-year starting QB with 30-plus starts under his belt with the arm talent, blah, blah, blah. I love that move, though. I thought that was good in that time, especially with Quinn's ankle, a little iffy. Man, and it worked. I mean, it's easy to agree with the call when it works. If it didn't work, maybe I'm thinking different, But it looked great. And that's what he does give you. He gives you that athleticism. He gives you some fresh legs, some strong legs, some mobile legs. What did he get clocked at? I can't remember.
23 miles per hour? What was that against UTSA?
He gives you 23 miles an hour coming out of there. So I don't mind that at all. And when you're saying quick hook, I don't think there's a true hook. Quinn is the starting quarterback for this team. He's the leader of that locker room. He's he is at such a level just through experience, through ups and downs, through being with Sark all day. I mean, that relationship, what he brings is invaluable. That said, there are some times, like, especially if the wheel's getting dinged up or if something's not going right.
Georgia defenders just bearing down on him all game.
That you do know you at least have another option. Now, it didn't look all that great the first time, right?
Yes.
When he got because again, as athletic as Arch is, the game is not slowed down to the point where it is for Quinn right now because he's new to it.
If there was an opportunity still the job, he didn't take it.
Right. But that's why I usually always will side with a third-year starting quarterback, just because they're seeing a slower game. And Yeah,
2.5 point line. Are you surprised by the line at all?
Hey, no, I'm not.
I think it's aided by Georgia struggling in a couple recent weeks, right?
Right. And Vegas works that, and they know that
revenge
a
factor.
nation saw Georgia Tech take them to 8 OTs. They also, because when Vegas sets these lines, I mean, they're trying to get half the people on one side, half the other. They know that probably a lot of people are like, they got to be cooked.
Big win for the Longhorns, honestly, that Georgia beat Georgia Tech, because I would have hated more so facing a desperate, hungry, clawing for their life Georgia team. Because if they lost that game, it would have been SEC championship or bye.
Yeah, they already met that team in October here at DKR, the team that came in surly when the entire game day crew or whatever.
What, the rat poison or whatever that Sabian always talks about. Prediction for you.
Man, I don't know if I'm there yet on a Monday, but I could actually see Texas walking away with a 3-point win. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Texas is going to give it that, if not their best shot, at least play the kind of ball that they've been playing for the rest of the year against Georgia. And I think when they do that, they stack up with them. I think they do. So I could see Texas going in there sneaking out with it's going to be tough. Something in that 27-24 kind of area, maybe 24-21, something like that.
I'm feeling like 24-20, something around that range is where I'm at too, because again, I feel as though the defense can shut down this Georgia offense. They did it in the first game, basically.
Yeah. Get one drive, really.
It comes down to, can the offense make enough plays to get over the top? And I think after seeing this team one time at least, I would like to think Sark, who is an offensive genius, right, can come up with a good strategy in this round 2.
And that
give him round 2, because he has at least tape to work of. And what went wrong? Where can I get better? We talked about some things that they could do better in this next game. But I'm 24-20 is going to be my final prediction. So we're both on the Longhorns here.
We're right in the same neighborhood. For the day ones, the diehards, the first-timers, the old-timers. For all the rivalry matches, buzzer beaters, and come-from-behind miracles. It's not just stats and wins and losses. It's the moments. The shots you can't believe went in. The times you can't do anything but believe. And it's all streaming right here on your connected TV anytime on Fox Local.
The Sports Office, streaming anytime on Fox Local.